everyone. Welcome to Mindfulness with Mrs. Yoder. I'm Mrs. Yoder, and you are at episode 17, Being Comfortable in the Uncomfortable. And in today's episode, we are going to explore how to do that, because most all of us have experienced something uncomfortable, whether it's something hurting in our body, a stomach ache, or maybe you fall and scrape your knee, or something uncomfortable inside of our body, like a strong feeling such as sadness or anger or irritation. And so today we're going to be looking at how to be more comfortable when we experience things that are uncomfortable. And before we go into some of those strategies, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we can control in ourselves versus what we can't control. So we're going to take a look at a chart about that really quick. Things outside of my control include other people's mistakes, other people's actions, other people's words, other people's feelings, other people's play, other people's ideas, and other people's behavior. Things I can control include my words, my actions, my ideas or thoughts, my play, my effort, my mistakes, and my behavior. Included in that is your breath. So thinking about those things that we can control, that's a really important starting place to start to find comfort when we feel uncomfortable, looking at what in this situation can I control. And so our first exercise we're going to do to practice has to do with discomforts in our body and using our breath to get comfortable with that. Because guess what? You've heard me say it before, you always have your breath. It is a tool that is always with you that we can use in a way to help ourselves. So we're just going to do our exercise by doing a simple stretch. And we're going to do something that I would not normally encourage, which is to stretch in a way in just a moment that goes beyond our comfort level. And we're going to be using our breath to get through that. So we're going to start by just finding a seated position somewhere. You're nice and straight with your spine. And then I want you to choose an arm. We're just going to do a nice little arm stretch. And I want you to take one arm and then bring your other arm under your elbow and just stretch it over, right? And so for me, it's right in front of me. I'm fine. I'm not uncomfortable. But I'm going to go a little further and I'm going to stretch it until maybe it hurts or I get a little uncomfortable. Now, right now, the reason I'm uncomfortable is because I feel like my chest is being squished. But I have control over this. I know it's temporary, first of all, and I'm going to use my breath to get through this discomfort. So go ahead and find a stretch that's a little bit uncomfortable, and we're going to take 3 slow breaths to get through it. Go ahead. Exhaling slowly. Inhale. You can do it. Exhale slowly. One more breath. Go ahead, inhale. You can do it, exhale. And then release. Now, an exercise like that does a couple things. It trains our brain to use our breath when we start to feel uncomfortable. It also gives us the gift of experience. So the next time my body's uncomfortable, I know that I'll be able to get through it by taking a breath. So we're going to do that with our other arm now. We're going to stick our arm out. We're going to do the same exercise. I want you to stretch it over till you're kind of comfortable. And then I want you to stretch it a little bit further to where you're uncomfortable. So it's about here for me. Once you start feeling discomfort, I want you to go ahead and take those 3 breaths in and out. I'm uncomfortable, but I know it will pass. In, out. And one more, you can do it. And release. So who noticed one other tool I used that time? If you said positive self-talk or reassurance, you're right. So I told myself, this will pass. I am in control of my thoughts. I'm in control of my words. I'm in control of my actions. I'm in control of my breath. So while I was breathing to get myself through it, I also talked to myself through it, and that's another great tool to use. So today, kind of for our meditation, we're going to start with a story. And I picked this story because it can give us a little bit of uncomfortable feelings. Now, I want to give everybody a heads up that in this story, it is about a bird that died. And if that is a sensitive topic for you, you can go ahead and skip the story. But if you feel safe and comfortable, I do invite you to listen to the story. And then we are going to walk through how to be comfortable in any uncomfortable feelings it might leave us with. The Dead Bird by Margaret Wise Brown, illustrated by Christian Robinson. The bird was dead when the children found it. But it had not been dead for long. It was still warm and its eyes were closed. The children felt with their fingers for the quick beat of the bird's heart in its breast. But there was no heart beating. That was how they knew it was dead. And even as they held it, it began to get cold, and the limp bird body grew stiff so they couldn't bend its legs, and the head didn't flop when they moved it. That was the way animals got when they had been dead for some time, cold, dead, and stone still, with no heart beating. The children were very sorry the bird was dead and could never fly again, but they were glad they had found it because now they could dig a grave in the woods and bury it. They could have a funeral and sing to it the way grown-up people did when someone died. So they took it out in the woods and they dug a hole in the ground. They put warm, sweet ferns in the bottom of the grave, and they wrapped the bird up in grapevine leaves and put it in the ground. Then they put more ferns on top of it and little white violets and yellow star flowers. Then they sang a song to it. "Oh bird, you're dead, you'll never fly again. Way up high with other birds in the sky, we sing to you because you're dead, feather bird, and we buried you in the ground with ferns and flowers because you will never fly again in the sky, way up high, little dead bird." Then they cried because their singing was so beautiful and the ferns smelled so sweetly and the bird was dead. They put dirt over the bird as they sang, and then they put more ferns and flowers and a gray stone on top of the dirt. On the stone they wrote, "Here lies a bird that is dead." Around the stone they planted white violet plants and wild geraniums, only the geraniums faded. And every day until they forgot, they went and sang to their little dead bird and put fresh flowers on his grave. The end. Welcome back, friends. After that story, I don't know about you, but I definitely feel a little sad, and that made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Reading about a dead bird, it reminded me of a couple things about a time I found a dead bird, maybe you as well. Maybe it reminded you of a loved one that passed away, and that can make us feel a little sad, and that's okay. So to help you move through it, we're going to practice how we can sort of cope with that and be comfortable in those feelings. Now, you can use your breath when you're having those strong feelings, but you can also do something like making a wish for yourself or others, or to revisit some happy memories. And so right now I'm going to put my hand to my heart. I invite you to do so as well. And then we're going to start with just identifying our feelings. So like I said, I can feel that I'm sad after reading that. You can do it and identify your feelings. And if those feelings are making you think of a memory or a person, I want you to go ahead and focus on that right now. And then if it's a person, I want you to maybe make a wish for that person. I wish this person peace. I wish this person's family members peace. Breathe that in. Or maybe you want to think of a memory of a person that kind of brings you joy, remembering a time where you felt happiness with this person, and breathe that in. And then finally, you can make a wish for yourself. I wish myself peace, and I know this feeling will pass. Breathe that in and exhale. I'm very proud of you today, friends, because it's not easy to be uncomfortable. And we did some exercises today that made us a little uncomfortable, possibly. So what I hope for you is that if you're ever in a situation again where you're uncomfortable either physically or with your feelings, that you use these strategies that I taught you today of breathing, positive self-talk, thinking of something happy, and making a wish for yourself or others to help you get through it. Because like all things, it will pass. Thank you so much for joining me today for Mindfulness with Mrs. Yoder. I hope you have a beautiful day.